Well, it all spiraled out of control very quickly. I was in my office, and you started hearing flashbangs in the distance, which was presumably the Capitol Police trying to get the rioters to step back, and the rioters violently confronted them and somehow breached the security perimeter of the Capitol. And all of a sudden, were running around Statuary Hall. The vice president was rushed off the floor of the House of Representatives by Secret Service, and these images started to emerge as the flashbangs continued of the House floor being barricaded, windows broken. I mean, the whole thing was absolute chaos. It was not something I thought I would ever see in the United States Capitol. So it was a very dark day. It was a very concerning day. I was very concerned for a lot of my colleagues, and I found myself, barricaded in my own office with a couple of my staff members, thinking about, how do we, if the worst comes to worst, how do we keep this office safe? How do I keep my staff safe? And it was just, it was a very, very dark day. No, I never felt that. I mean, but I was, I was thinking that the closest thing this resembled was some things I saw in Iraq when I served in uniform over a decade ago. I mean, it was just that chaotic. But I never really felt that my life was in danger. But when the images started to emerge, I thought that some of my colleagues who were on the House floor at the time, their life could be in danger. And then ultimately, tragically, a woman was shot and she lost her life. And my understanding is the death toll is at 4 now. So it's absolutely tragic. And I think we have to confront head on the fact that there was a real danger to giving millions of Americans false hope that somehow Congress was going to overturn the results of the election on January 6th. I mean, my view is that Congress, that is not our role constitutionally. It's for the states and the people to resolve their own elections. January 6th has always been merely a ministerial meeting of Congress, not a meaningful forum for litigating or relitigating an election. And I think what the objectors misunderstood is that somehow by just having a debate for 2 hours, the protesters were going to be satisfied. Well, clearly that was not the case. And we incited some very extreme passions, and that resulted in destruction and even death. Well, I thought clearly after what we watched happen for hours of utter destruction that we would reconvene and the objectors would drop their objections. But they went right back to the debate. They went right back to the reckless suggestion that Congress had a role in overturning the election on January 6th. So I was quite frankly astounded at that. I was astounded that there wasn't a movement from the top down to prevent that from happening. I guess I was gratified that the number of senators who were going to object was reduced to a very small number, and perhaps we objected to a fewer number of states than we originally were. But I just don't understand how, after witnessing what we witnessed and knowing that this was not going to be, it's not going to change anything. It was a cynical gambit that they persisted with the objection.